and welcome to your pull day warm-ups. So these warm-ups will be really good for any time that you're doing rows, pull-ups, pull-downs, squats, deadlifts, anything like that. So again, what you want to do is these 4 exercises, you can do them 1 to 2 times through, anywhere from like 10 to 20 reps. And then again, if you are doing traditional strength training where you're trying to grow muscle mass, where you're trying to really gain strength, you're going to want to add to your core lifts a 4th set of those exercises. And again, that meaning that first set is just going to be lighter weight, and it's going to be more of a warm-up set to prep those muscles for that movement. So here we need a wall, we need a band, and that's all we are looking for our pull day warm-ups. So for our first exercise, we're gonna do what's called a wall squat. This is one of my absolute favorites. I do this for most every workout warm up, and I use this for a lot of my clients to learn how to squat properly. So it's kind of like 2 things in one. What you're gonna do, you will need the wall for this. You're gonna stack your forearms one on top of the other, have them shoulder height. You're gonna come to a wall. I'm gonna stand a foot or so away from the wall. So my heels are just a little bit behind my shoulders, okay? I put my feet in my squat press, and the goal is to keep the forearms on the wall the entire time. So you're gonna sit back. Sorry, I have some friends with me today. You're gonna sit back in your hips and your heels and come up without letting the forearms leave the wall. If you need to come back a little bit, please do so in your stance with your feet. The biggest thing here is if you start to feel like you're gonna fall away, if you feel like your arms are gonna move away from the wall, that's the indication that you don't need to go further down. The more that you practice this exercise, the better you'll get at it, the lower you'll be able to get into it, and the better your squats will be. So again, feet hips width apart, squatting down, coming back up. About 15 of these is a really good goal, and don't rush it. The next thing I'm going to teach you is what's called a scapular press. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you have seen these before. I'm going to start you on the wall. If you feel comfortable with a wall, you can go down to something like a bench or a countertop, and then eventually working your way all the way down to the ground. This is a deceivingly difficult exercise, especially when you're doing it on the ground as a strength training exercise. So it is really important to start easier and working your way down. It is like a push-up, except for your elbows aren't bending at all. And so what happens is, if we're not careful, we tend to try to make it feel like a bigger exercise than it is. And we start to move our neck a lot, we start to move our core a lot to help us instead of just using our shoulder blades. This is a very, this isn't as big of an exercise as you think. There's not a lot of movement going on here. So what you're gonna do is extend your arms in front of you, and essentially you're sinking in between the shoulder blades. So the shoulder blades are coming together, and then you're pushing the shoulder blades around your rib cage to press the arms away. When you do this, you may feel a little bit of numbness in your hands and your fingers. That's just an indicator that you've got a very tight neck or tight shoulders. So this is a great exercise. Continue to do it, and that numbness and tingling will go away. So I'm gonna put my hands at the wall in line with my shoulders. I'm gonna walk my feet back some. So I'm almost in this like standing plank. I like to spread my fingers out so that way I'm not dumping into all my weight into my wrist. It's a good thing to practice now, because as you start to go lower, then you won't have that issue. So what you're gonna do, again, elbows aren't locked, but they are straight. They're just soft in the joint. They're gonna sink in, chin stays tucked, spine is still straight, so we're not jutting our hips or anything like that. And then you're pushing away, letting the shoulder blades wrap around your rib cage. Bringing it in, pressing it away, bringing it in, pressing it away. This one is good to do 15 to 20 times, and it is very, very good for activating and warming up the low back. Exercise number 3 is a hinge exercise I love. There are progressions here and I'm gonna go through all of them with you. I do this pretty much before any workout that I do because it does activate your glutes and I think it's just awesome. So what you're gonna do, if you don't have a lot of flexibility in your hips, we're gonna start with your knees, hands on your knees. I like to take my feet a little bit wider than my hips, okay? And all I'm gonna do is let my hips sink down as far as is comfortable, heart opens. And then I'm going to not lock my knees, but I'm gonna straighten them as far as is comfortable. You're going just into discomfort, no more. So if your face is scrunching and your tongue gets tight or anything like that, if your tongue is pushing the roof of your mouth, those are all indicators you're coming up too high. So you don't wanna hold it too long. You're gonna sink and hinge, sink, and hinge. If you do have the flexibility, hands come to the toes, okay? I usually just put my hands on top of my feet or my shoes. And again, hips sink, heart opens just as far as is comfortable. Pick up the hips, they'll sink, and we pick them up. From here, there's a third option I like to do where you sink, right arm comes up, left arm comes up, and you stand up. You'll hinge, hips lower, right arm, left arm, back up, one more, fold, hinge, hips lower, arms reach up, and we come up, okay? Then I have one more in this, and this is where you want the band. So this is a great mid-back activator, and it can be used as a strengthening exercise. We're gonna use it as a warm-up. So really the only difference between a lot of warm-up exercises and strength training exercises is reps and the amount of weight that you're using. I like to take my back to a wall, bring my feet out just a little bit. I'm not in a full wall squat, but my back is fairly flat. What this is gonna do is guarantee that I'm just working in between my shoulder blades, that I'm just working my upper back and nothing else. You will take a lighter band. You're gonna hold it out in line with the shoulders, tuck the chin slightly. You're gonna open, squeezing the shoulder blades and bringing it back. Squeezing the shoulder blades and bringing it back. Okay? If it feels too easy, bring your hands in even more. I'm so sorry. And if it feels too hard, open your hands a little bit more. But ultimately, you want to have tension during the entire exercise. And again, you want to do up to 20 of these. Okay? And then from there, you should be ready to go. Right, ladies? Okay.